The village of Akpiri had one rule that everyone obeyed: no one goes outside after 6 p.m. Chief Okorafor, the native doctor, had established this law 15 years ago. The night belongs to evil spirits, he warned during village meetings. Stay inside after 6, or invite destruction upon your family. His compound sat at the village edge, surrounded by clay pots, mysterious herbs, and bones that rattled in the wind. People feared and respected him in equal measure. Then one humid September afternoon, a stranger arrived. Adanna, a curious 16-year-old, was the first to see him, a tall, lean man with an expressionless face and searching eyes. He carried a single one-letter bag and walked straight to old Momandozi's abandoned cottage. Without asking anyone's permission, he used the key to let himself in. Within hours, the entire village knew. Neighbors tried to welcome him with food and conversation, but the stranger accepted their gifts with silent nods and closed doors. He never spoke a single word. Not thank you. Not hello. Nothing. Very rude, Mrs. Addis complained at the village square that evening. Maybe he's mute, suggested young Emeka. Mute or not, he should show courtesy, Mr. Choco grumbled. But the truly strange thing happened 3 nights later. Adanna was finishing her homework when she glanced out her window and froze. The stranger was walking outside, after 6 p.m. He moved with quiet confidence down the moonlit path, observing houses as if it were afternoon. He wasn't running or afraid. He simply walked. And nothing happened to him. Adanna watched him every night after that. Each time, the stranger walked the village streets, stopping to observe certain compounds, especially Chief Okorafor's. He would stand there, very still, just watching. When Adanna told her best friend Kayamika, the girl panicked. Don't question Chief Okorafor. He protects us. He knows things we don't. But Adanna couldn't shake one thought: if the stranger could break the 6 p.m. rule without consequences, what did that mean? At an emergency village meeting, Chief Okorafor addressed the crowd. I have consulted the ancestors. This stranger carries darkness with him. Stay away from him. Continue obeying the 6 p.m. rule. The stranger may walk at night because he's already been touched by dark forces. Do not follow his example. That night, Adanna watched the stranger stop directly across from Chief Okorafor's compound and stand very, very still. Watching and waiting. Weeks passed, and strange things began happening in Akpiri. Chickens disappeared from coops. Mrs. Addis' prize goat vanished without a trace, no blood, no tracks, no struggle. Crops in the western fields withered overnight. 3 children fell mysteriously ill with fevers that wouldn't break. It's the stranger, villagers whispered. Ever since he arrived, evil has followed. Chief Okorafor became busier than ever, visiting homes at odd hours, performing cleansing rituals, selling protection charms at steep prices. The dark forces are growing stronger, he explained. You need more protection. But Adanna noticed something odd. She noticed that Chief Okorafor always seemed to have an answer, always had something to sell, and always grew richer while the village grew poorer and more afraid. Meanwhile, the stranger maintained his silent routine. He ignored the hostile stares and whispered accusations. During the day, he stayed in his cottage. After 6 p.m., he walked the village, always observing, always watching Chief Okorafor's compound. One evening, Adanna's father came home shaken. Chief Okorafor says the stranger is a witch. He wants us to drive him out of the village. But he hasn't done anything wrong, Adanna protested. He breaks the 6 p.m. rule every night. That's disrespect to our traditions and our protector. A village meeting was called. The square filled with angry voices demanding the stranger leave. Chief Okorafor stood at the center, his staff raised. This man brings evil to our village. He must go. But before the mob could march to the cottage, old Mama Ikin stood up. She was the oldest woman in Akpiri,
and when she spoke, people listened. Have any of you actually seen this stranger do something wrong? Or do we condemn him because he is different? The crowd shifted uncomfortably. He walks at night, someone called out. That alone proves he's evil. Or, Mama Ikin said softly, it proves that maybe there's nothing to fear after dark. Maybe we've been afraid of shadows for too long. Chief Okorafor's face darkened with fury. You dare question me, old woman? That night, Mama Ikin's house caught fire. She escaped with her life but lost everything. Chief Okorafor blamed dark spirits, but Adanna saw something in his eyes, satisfaction. And she saw something else too. Through her window that night, she watched the stranger standing in the shadows near Mama Ikin's burned compound. He was holding something small and shiny, examining it carefully before tucking it into his pocket. He'd found something in the ashes. The next morning, Adanna made a decision. She had to know the truth. That evening, as the sun set and families locked themselves inside, Adanna did the unthinkable. She waited until her parents were asleep, then quietly slipped out her window. For the first time in her life, she was breaking the 6 p.m. rule. Adanna's heart hammered as she crept through the empty village streets. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound amplified. The stories of evil spirits, repeated since childhood, echoed in her mind. But she pushed forward, driven by curiosity stronger than fear. She knew where to find the stranger. She'd watched him long enough to know his route. She found him standing near the village shrine, motionless in the moonlight. When she approached, he turned sharply, his eyes widening in what looked like alarm. He made frantic gestures, pointing at her, then back toward her house, waving his hands urgently. He wanted her to go home. I need to know the truth, Adanna whispered. Why do you walk at night? What are you looking for? The stranger stared at her for a long moment, then seemed to make a decision. He gestured for her to follow him, moving quickly through the darkness. They wove between houses, staying in shadows, until they reached the back of Chief Okorafor's compound. The stranger pointed to a small window, then lifted Adanna up so she could see inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. The room was filled with the missing animals, chickens, goats, all alive but caged. On a table lay strange materials, animal bones, herbs, and most horrifyingly, photographs of villagers with symbols drawn on them. She recognized her own family's photo among them. But that wasn't the worst of it. In the corner was a large pot over a cold fire pit. Beside it were bottles labeled with names, protection charms Chief Okorafor sold to villagers. And scattered around were the personal items that had gone missing from various homes over the past months. The stranger lowered Adanna down and pulled out a small notebook. He wrote quickly and showed her, he creates the problems he claims to solve. The 6 p.m. rule keeps everyone inside while he works. I've been documenting everything. Who are you? Adanna whispered. He wrote again, Detective Chief Okorafor. Undercover. His last village, 5 people died under suspicious circumstances. All blamed on evil spirits. All while he got richer. Why don't you just tell everyone? Why stay silent? If he knows I can speak, he'll know I can testify. Silence protects me. He thinks I'm just a strange man, not a threat. I've been gathering evidence. Suddenly, they heard footsteps. The stranger grabbed Adanna's arm and pulled her behind the large clay pot just as Chief Okorafor emerged from his compound. He looked around suspiciously, then walked toward the village center. The stranger gestured urgently, follow. Stay quiet. They trailed Chief Okorafor through the dark village. He stopped at Mr. Okonkwo's farm and scattered something from a pouch onto the crops. The stranger took photographs with a small camera. Next, Chief Okorafor visited Mrs. Nwosu's compound and left something near her well. More photographs. Finally, he went to the shrine and began chanting, performing an elaborate ritual. But through the window, Adanna could see him glancing around nervously, making sure no one was watching. It was all performance, she realized. All fake. As they watched, Chief Okorafor pulled out a small bottle and poured a dark liquid near the shrine entrance. The stranger's jaw tightened. He wrote quickly, "Poison. To sicken whoever comes here tomorrow. Then he'll sell them a cure." Adanna felt sick. This man, trusted to protect them, had been terrorizing the village for profit. They followed Chief Okorafor back to his compound. Just before entering, he paused and spoke to the darkness. "I know you're out there, stranger. I know you're watching me. But you have no proof, no voice, no allies. This village is mine." Then he laughed and went inside. The stranger turned to Adanna and wrote, "I have proof now. Photographs, samples, documentation. But I need witnesses. I need the village to see the truth themselves. Will you help me?" Adanna thought of Mama Ikin's burned house, the sick children, her parents wasting money on useless charms while Chief Okorafor grew fat and wealthy. She thought of 15 years of unnecessary fear, of families locked in their homes while one mom played God. "Yes," she whispered. "What do we do?" The stranger smiled for the first time. A small, determined smile, and began to write out a plan. The next day, Adanna was terrified but determined. Following the stranger's plan, she went to Mama Ikin first. "Mama, I need to tell you something. But you must promise to keep it secret until tonight." Mama Ikin listened as Adanna explained everything she'd seen. The old woman's face grew hard. "I suspected something was wrong. That fire at my house, it started from outside, not inside. But everyone was too scared to question Chief Okorafor. The stranger, Detective Chima, has proof. But we need people to witness it themselves. Can you help gather the elders quietly? Tell them to meet behind the church at 5:30 p.m. Mama Ikin squeezed Adanna's hand. Finally, someone brave enough to challenge him. "I'll gather them." Throughout the day, Adanna and Mama Ikin carefully approached trusted villagers one by one. Adanna's father, Old Papa Uche, Mrs. Adis, Sister Choku. Each one was skeptical at first but agreed to come, if only out of curiosity. By 5:30 p.m., 15 people had gathered behind the church, whispering nervously. "This better be good," Mr. Choku muttered. "If Chief Okorafor finds out we're plotting behind his back." The stranger emerged from the shadows, and the group gasped. He approached calmly and handed Papa Uche, the eldest, his notebook. Papa Uche read aloud, "My name is Detective Chima Okafor. I was sent to investigate suspicious deaths in Chief Okorafor's previous village. I've spent 2 months documenting his crimes here. Tonight, you will see the truth. Follow me silently. Stay hidden. Just watch." "How do we know you're really a detective?" someone challenged. The stranger pulled out an official badge and identification papers. Papa Uche examined them carefully. "These look legitimate. But why would Chief Okorafor hurt us?" Mrs. Adis asked. "He's protected us for years." "Has he?" Adanna spoke up. "Or has he kept us afraid so we pay him for protection from threats he created himself?" The stranger gestured urgently, "Time to go." As the sun set and the 6 p.m. hour approached, the group followed the silent detective through the darkening village. He positioned them around Chief Okorafor's compound, hidden but with clear views of the back area. They waited. Just after 6 p.m., Chief Okorafor emerged carrying a large sack. The witnesses watched in growing horror as he went to Mrs. Nosu's chicken coop and took 3 chickens, putting them in his sack. "He's stealing the chickens he claims are taken by spirits," Papa Uche whispered in disbelief. Next, Chief Okorafor went to Mr. Okonkwo's farm and scattered something on the crops, the same crops that had been mysteriously withering. "That devil," Mr. Choku hissed. But the worst was yet to come. Chief Okorafor returned to his compound and entered the back room. Through the window, they all saw what Adanna had seen: the caged animals, the photographs, the stolen items, the fake charm ingredients. Then Chief Okorafor did something that made everyone gasp. He took out a small bottle and poured liquid into several other bottles, the same protection charms he sold at the market. "That's dirty water," Mama Ikin breathed. "We've been buying dirty water at premium prices." The stranger pulled out his camera and took more photographs, the flash hidden from Chief Okorafor's view. Finally, Chief Okorafor prepared to leave his compound again, this time carrying several bottles. The group followed silently as he made his way through the village, stopping at different homes. At Papa Boniface's house, he left something near the doorway. At Mama Ijioma's compound, he scattered powder near the entrance. "He's planting evidence," Adanna whispered. "Tomorrow, he'll discover curses at these homes and charge them for cleansing rituals." The stranger gestured. "Enough. Time to act." He handed Papa Uche a whistle and made a writing gesture. Papa Uche understood. The sharp blast of the whistle pierced the night air, the village alarm, used only for emergencies. Within minutes, despite the 6 p.m. rule, people began emerging from their homes, confused and frightened. "What's happening?" they called out. "Emergency meeting at the square," Papa Uche shouted. "Everyone must come. Now." Chief Okorafor appeared, looking furious. "Who dares break the 6 p.m. rule? You bring destruction upon us all." "The only destruction here," Mama Ikin said loudly, "is the destruction you've been causing." The village gathered in the square, lamplights flickering on confused faces. The 15 witnesses stood together, united. "Chief Okorafor," Papa Uche began, his voice steady, "we have seen things tonight. Things you don't want us to see. Lies." Chief Okorafor's hand tightened on his staff. "This is the stranger's doing. He's poisoned your minds." "Then explain," Mr. Choku said, "why we just watched you steal chickens from Mrs. Mosu's coop." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "And why," Mrs. Adis added, "we saw you with our missing animals in your compound." "And why," Adanna said clearly, "you've been selling us dirty water as protection charms." Chief Okorafor's face twisted with rage. "You dare accuse me? Me? I who have protected this village for 15 years. Guards, seize these traitors." But his two guards looked uncertain, glancing at the crowd that was now murmuring angrily. The stranger stepped forward and handed Papa Uche a thick envelope. Inside were dozens of photographs, documented evidence, and official papers. "This man," Papa Uche read from the stranger's statement, "is Detective Chima Okafor. He's been investigating Chief Okorafor for murder, fraud, and terrorizing multiple villages. He has all the evidence needed to prove the chief's crimes." The stranger pulled out a small recording device and pressed play. Chief Okorafor's voice filled the square. "I know you're watching me, stranger. But you have no proof, no voice, no allies. This village is mine." Then came his laugh, cold and cruel. The crowd's mood shifted from confusion to fury. "Is this true?" people demanded. "Have you been lying to us?" Chief Okorafor's composure cracked. "You fools. I gave you order. I gave you purpose. Without me, you're nothing but helpless sheep. Yes, I created the problems, but I also solved them. I kept you safe from yourselves. You kept us prisoners," Papa Uche said quietly. The stranger wrote one final message and held it up for all to see. "There are no evil spirits after 6 p.m. There never were. Just one evil man." The revelation of Chief Okorafor's crimes shook Akpiri to its core. Some villagers refused to believe it at first, clinging to 15 years of ingrained fear and reverence. But the evidence was undeniable. Detective Chima's photograph showed everything: the stolen animals, the fake charm ingredients, Chief Okorafor planting curses at innocent homes, him poisoning crops and wells. The documentation was thorough and damning. "We should handle this ourselves," some angry villagers shouted. "He deserves traditional justice." But Papa Uche raised his hand for silence. "No. We've lived in darkness long enough. We'll do this the right way." The village elders convened an emergency council. Messengers were sent to the district headquarters, 20 miles away, to bring police and government officials. Chief Okorafor was confined to the village hall under guard, not his own guards, who had abandoned him, but volunteers from the village. During his confinement, Chief Okorafor alternated between threatening and pleading. "You'll regret this. The spirits will punish you all." "There are no spirits," Mama Ikin said calmly. "Just a greedy man." While they waited for the authorities, Detective Chime finally spoke. His voice was raw from disuse, but clear. "I'm sorry I deceived you," he said to the gathered villagers. "But if Okorafor knew I could speak, he would have known I could testify in court. Silence was my protection. It let me observe without being seen as a threat." "You saved us," Adanna said. "You don't need to apologize." The detective smiled at her. "You saved yourselves. You were brave enough to break the rule, to question what you'd been taught. That took real courage." Over the next few days, as they waited, the village began to transform. On the first night, a few brave souls ventured out after 6 p.m. When nothing happened, more followed. Children played in the moonlight. Families sat outside, enjoying the cool evening air. People realized what they'd been missing for 15 years. "Look at the stars," young Emeka breathed. "I've never really seen them before." The stolen animals were returned to their owners. The sick children, it turned out, had been given slow-acting poisons by Chief Okorafor so he could later cure them with expensive rituals. Once the poisoning stopped, they recovered quickly. Mama Ikin's house was rebuilt by village volunteers. The crops, no longer being sabotaged, began to flourish. When the district police commissioner finally arrived with officers and an investigator, they found the village transformed, angry, yes, but also liberated. "We've been investigating Chief Okorafor for years," the commissioner explained. "He's done this before. 3 villages ago, 5 people died from his cleansing rituals. We could never get enough evidence to arrest him, and villagers were too afraid to testify." Detective Chima volunteered to go undercover. "What will happen to him?" Adanna asked. "He'll face trial for fraud, theft, poisoning, attempted murder, and involuntary manslaughter. The evidence Detective Chima gathered, plus the witnesses here, will ensure justice." As Chief Okorafor was led away in handcuffs, he glared at the village. "You'll fail without me. You need someone to fear, someone to tell you what to do." "No," Papa Uche said firmly. "We need each other. That's all we've ever needed." The trial took place 3 months later in the district court. Adanna, Mama Ikin, Papa Uche, and several other villagers testified. Detective Chima presented his evidence methodically and professionally. The prosecution also brought forward victims from Chief Okorafor's previous villages, families who'd lost loved ones, people who'd been bankrupted by his schemes. The verdict was unanimous, guilty on all counts. Chief Okorafor was sentenced to 25 years in prison. His properties were seized, and the money recovered was distributed back to his victims across multiple villages.